3 race days to go until the end of Split 2. Welcome to the Drone Champions League with the top 10 best drone racing teams in the world. I'm Matt Andrews, and it is so close at the top. 2 matchups for you as always, starting with Cyclone Racing, team who have been brilliant throughout 2023 with the Ice Cheetah, Fluorescent, J-Box and Zion. They've been scoring so well. This team haven't been beaten by anybody in Split 2 though. It's XBlades with Shane, Sali1, Yayu and Star 23467. 15 wins out of 15. Then the Americans at Quad Force 1, who are further down our leaderboard. AK Drones, Propsicle, Hyper and QT FPV have a lot of work to do if they can get Quad Force 1 into a safer position for the live finals. It's China Dragons they got to keep up with today. Creator Gamer, Kenrick FPV, Clone Number 1 and Ion FPV having the season of their lives and up into second place. As you can see, XBlades and Cyclone, both in a really strong position. China Dragons and Quad Force 1, that's a bit of a different story. You'll be seeing 3 races in each of these matchups. There'll be 2 pilots versus 2, then another 2v2, then all 8 pilots racing together in the DCL Big Heat. And you get 4 points for winning any of those races, 3 for second, 2 for third, 1 for fourth. If your team come out of those 3 races with more points than the other, you'll get 3 points in our season standings, 1 point if it's a draw. Nobody wants to come away with no points. And this is all about the live finals extremely soon. After race day 18, we'll know our rankings for our 10 teams and the top 6 will qualify for the live Split 2 finals. Top 4 will go into the main round, 5th and 6th place will start off in the elimination zone. Every team there, if you lose a race, you are eliminated from the finals. So nobody wants to be finishing the 18-week season down in 5th or 6th. Today it's a return to our favourite location covered in snow, Lax in Switzerland, where we began our 2019 real-life racing series. This is Europe's biggest snow park. We take over it, leave the snowboards behind and instead go for a corkscrew flight around this bridge here. Then we'll go towards the castle, this big complex in the middle, lots of 180-degree turns, and then a power loop to dive straight down the tunnel around the middle, move over past the rails, then a 180 there and another one to follow, up through this very tight DCL gate to the far side of this one to come back through it. Then we'll do a little bit of off-piste skiing before we come up to these rails and go hard turns in and out. Watch for pilots to get extremely high and try and stay under those rails and saving as much time as they can. We'll go under the cable cars after this rocky bit here and into 4 consecutive ladders, up and left turning, down and right turning, and then repeating that for the 3rd and the 4th ladder here. Then a straight run through this gate before into a slalom which goes left and right and a left. Then that's the Galaxy building up through that DCL gate and around we go. So let's go racing, everybody. Can Cyclone be the first team to beat XBlades in Split 2? The Ice Cheetah and Zion will be the first ones to try, and up against Yayu and Sali1. Zion and the Ice Cheetah in purple for Cyclone, Sali1 and Yayu. The dangerous, undefeated XBlades, they're in light blue, and both of them just in the lead early on lap number 1 as we corkscrew the bridge and come out under there. Yayu, then Sali1, then Zion FPV in 3rd and the Ice Cheetah in 4th and half a second between all 4 of them, and Zion doing a nice job of keeping with Yayu and Sali1. But he got a little close to that cone, but that's okay. The Ice Cheetah's just slipped another 10th back out across the snow. Sali1 just swapped places with Yayu. All of them quite high under the rails as expected. The Ice Cheetah just dropping a 10th. Maybe 2 now into the ladders. Now Zion has been pretty good on ladders in the past, but he's also been bitten by 1 or 2 of them. Let's see how well he can fight up here. Well, he's getting alongside the XBlades pilots just momentarily, but now they're still very close to each other. 0.05 of a second between the 2 pilots for XBlades. Then it's Zion, and the Ice Cheetah is a bit further behind still. He's losing out on all of the technical parts, of course, just dropping pace here and there. Zion is the one who can try and do something about this being a 1-2 for XBlades. Underneath on the corkscrew, good exit from Zion. He's close, 1/4 of a second between him and the lead. Sali1 between him and Yayu. A little bit slower out of that turn, a little bit hesitant. That's lost him a little bit of time, and that's how it works in drone racing. We often talk in hundredths or thousandths of a second due to hesitancies or slightly being off course. Oh, he's hit the middle section under the rails, trying to fit it in that tiny, tiny gap. That's not a small mistake. That's lost him a lot of time. Sally1 and Yayu, I fear, on a second lap of 3, are uncatchable at this point unless they get into a real mess, and it would have to be both of them. It's 3 seconds between them and the Ice Cheetah as Zion lost a whole lot of time, getting very caught out as he went underneath the rails. Really got stuck there, and the fight from him was very strong, but it's not going to make it all the way to the end, it seems. Yayu and Sali1, there's half a second between them. And Yayu is the leader. That's very close on that 180, and look at the dive down. That's too tight, it turns out. Oh, the entry was bold and brave, but the route through it just undid him slightly. Now it's only a few thousandths of a second between Sally1 and Yayu. We've had a race between these two the whole time. There's the section which caught Zion out last time. Both of the XBlades pilots zipping through there, around the blower there, and then into the ladders. Sally1 just wants his space back from Yayu, I think. He'll feel like he can take the first place from him. Will have to just swing there for the route up the half pipe, as he was a little bit off for the route through the gates. But into the finish they go.
Oh gosh.
Good work, boys.
That is insane.
Okay, no, I wasn't keeping with that.
That is insane. Oh my god.
You were right there. You're 210s.
Yayu gets the first win of race day 16, and the Ice Cheetah telling Zion, you were in the battle for that. And he was, until he got caught out on about halfway through the race. Lap number 2, just laid out onto the middle of it. Here's Yayu's brilliant dive, but the exit was clumsy but quick. That is a fantastic recovery. Kept it going in the right direction, and here's the battle with him and Sally1. Look how tight this is. That's the sort of line you want to aspire to being able to fly. At the end of it, Yayu was just over a tenth ahead of his teammate Sally1. A big 1-2 for XBlades gets them 7 points to 3 out of this. Can Fluorescent and J-Box do better against Shane and start 2, 3, 4, 6, 7? Well, Fluorescent and J-Box will have seen how hard Zion and the Ice Cheetah had to fly to try and keep up with the XBlades pilots. All of them together through SW Project. Fluorescent, makes the turn, but hit the banner just standing next to it. So it looked like he didn't, but he did go around the important part, which is the pylon, which is there. Now here's his dive. Good power looping. That's where you basically do a complete loop-the-loop to come down through the tunnel. You don't get a lot of vision, but it's the quickest way of doing it. And Fluorescent just dips a little too low on the front side of the DCL gate. Just trying to nip through that as quickly as he could. So he's a little bit further behind, and he's having all kinds of tangles trying to get out of that rail. That sent him 2 seconds, nearly 4 seconds behind. Shane, then half a second, and start 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, then about half a second. And then this pilot, J-Box, who's in third. He's high on the slalom, which is quite good. Some pilots like to take that quite low, but you do have to climb up to the Galaxy building. So, is worth being around where J-Box was, I think. And it's about a second between him and the lead, just as it was. Now he comes up towards the SW Project turn. There's the rail. You have to go around that pylon, and he does. Now we go for the corkscrew here. And he's trying to keep up with XBlades, but he's not gaining on them yet. Shane still out in front. Then star 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, who's a little closer to Shane. And J-Box, who isn't really any closer. Fluorescent, over 7 seconds behind. Gone from bad to worse for him. Now Shane, in the lead, is going between the rails. He climbs up in between them and then ducks out to make the exit. That is crazy flying. Shane showing us what he can do out in front. We've seen it in recent weeks. He's daring to find gaps and routes which are legal but are almost impossible to do. Tell you what though, he's been caught by one of the ladders coming up the half pipe and has gone from first to third. J-Box snuck by him, is in second place, is only 4 tenths behind the leader, who's now star 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 onto the final lap. Oh, J-Box! Just when he could see and a chance was emerging in front of him. Our star is getting away. Oh, J-Box has to hang on to this second place, but Shane is catching him. And J-Box is now crashing into the castle and tripping on the exit of it. And Cyclone really need to grab every point they can in a battle against XBlades to try and give them hope in the big heat. But it's going to be too far away from them now. Star's coming up to the rails. Keep an eye out for Shane and how he's going through them. Yep, he went between them again. But Star is still in front of him. 1.3 seconds. A nice clean run. Into the ladder, he flies as he exits first one. Shane's into the second one. J-Box is catching. Shane is caught on one of the ladders. J-Box has a chance to take second from him, but no, it's getting away, and J-Box has lost more time, and Star is just going to wrap it up. It is Shane who keeps second place.
Good job, boys.
Let's go, guys. GG. Nice one.
Could have tried.
It's
to-
all right.
Don't worry about it.
We're not going to win this one anyway. We're not.
I mean, I've got Star's pace. I might be able to beat him in the 4. Just
Hey,
have fun with this.
Look at
one
the
if you can.
times, though. 254, 257. Those are beautiful times.
The Ice Cheater always trying to motivate his team, saying these are beatable times. Well, Star 23467 didn't really have any problems all the way through that race. There's Fluorescent catching the banner earlier on, as we saw. He also dipped too low after that climb through that gate. That is a really difficult section, much harder than it looks. Shane getting caught by a ladder on lap number 2. That's where J-Box got in front of him, but unfortunately, although he got away with that little bump, when he got to the castle, it all came undone for J-Box here, and that's a really tough place to try and fly out of cleanly. He actually makes the dive down the middle really well, but then hits that pylon and trips up again. Start 23467, smooth to the end. DCL's big heat with all 8 pilots flying. Well, how can this turn out? XBlades surely feeling very confident getting into this after their 1-2 in both of the 2v2s we've had so far. But some of the Cyclone pilots have been keeping with them until mistakes have crept in. They've got to clean that up. They could do with a little bit of luck coming their way as well. Yayu, Sully1, Shane, Star 23467, all the XBlades pilots, they're all in the top 4 at the moment. But Zion is less than a tenth of a second behind them, and the Ice Cheat are very close too. J-Box and Fluorescent have had some early problems on lap number 1. Doesn't look like they're going to be helping very much from there. Zion makes the route he was aiming for. Under the rails, between them and the mound in the middle. That is as tight as it goes. And with that, he moves up to 3rd place. Oh, but he's rattling around on the inside of a ladder. That undoes the brilliant flying he just did on one of the more common obstacles that we have here. Ladders are quite a regular feature in DCL races and in other drone races as well. Oh, Zion's gone back down to 6th. It's all XBlades in the top 4 again. The Ice Cheater, the leader of the Cyclone pilots at the moment. He's in 5th, out of the scoring positions, and he's half a second behind Shane. This is Sully1, who's in 2nd place with his teammate Yayu. We've seen those two race together so many times in pairings. There's Yayu just in front of Sully1. 4 now, out of the castle they come. Star 23467 is a few tenths behind them. Shane, sort of half a second behind that. Still most of half a second between him and the Cyclone pilots though, so the Ice Cheater not moving up into the scoring positions just yet. Yayu, then exactly a tenth between him and Sully1. Star 23467 coming around as well in 3rd place. This is good laddering. Sully1 with that route again through the gate into the middle of the half pipe. That time more deliberate, I think, than it was on his earlier race. It's obviously a choice, and it's worked for him. Through block trade, onto the start of the final lap. Still, all of the XBlades pilots in the top 4 positions. The Ice Cheater has gone from 5th to 6th, swapping places with Zion, but none of the Cyclone pilots are yet swapping places with XBlades. Yayu continues to lead. Sully1, then Star 23467, and then Shane, and there's gaps forming now between all 4 of those XBlades pilots. And the Cyclone pilots just can't keep with them, but nobody has done. XBlades on this incredible 15 wins out of 15 record that they're on at the moment. Can they complete an entire 18-week split season undefeated? It looks like they've got every chance of doing so. Cyclone were going to be a good competitor against them, but it's not going to happen today. XBlades still in the top 4. And there goes Zion past Shane. All right. Maybe Cyclone will get 1 point out of this after all, but they're not going to get 1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
Let's go. Nice one, guys. Close Shane with amazing result, guys.
Oh, I'll take it.
GG, bro. Got one of them. Didn't let him get the 4.
So congratulations to Yayu, who did get the 4 points, but they didn't get all the 4 places. Here's Zion, after the brilliant rail route that he did, got stuck on that ladder, and that slowed him down a little. J-Box pulls up too soon after this turn, and that stops him before he makes the dive. Fluorescent goes into the dive okay, but slides down on the inside of it and takes a while to recover. That left them in 7th and 8th. Yayu was all smooth out in front, but how did Zion steal 4th place? He just outflies Shane on a corner. Not this ladder, but the next one coming up, he's on the inside of him and out in front of him. Cyclone right to celebrate getting a point away from XBlades there, but it was a big confident win for the UK team, looking to carry on their undefeated record. Quad Force 1 will now take on China Dragons. It's going to be Propsicle and QT against Ion and Kenrick first. Down the half pipe, and then we start to weave our way. Propsicle is no stranger to being out in front. He's been absolutely phenomenal year after year for the American team. And we've seen him so many times in Split 1 earlier this year and Split 2, just be out in front and be uncatchable. Let's see what China Dragons can do. QT, his teammate, is backing things up at the opposite side at the moment. He's down in fourth. His teammate Propsicle leading the way. Then it's Ion and Kenrick who are between, and there's almost a second between the China Dragon pilots and Propsicle out in front. That's not going to help Kenrick. Oh, Kenny goes to the back. And if he stays there, hands an extra point to Quad Force 1. But a long way to go. Ion chasing Propsicle, still just over a second behind him and losing time on each of these ladders. Now he's going to have to be brilliant in the slalom, and that is looking quite quick, quite smooth. Now he'll rise up a little bit to follow Propsicle down, who's a few tenths further ahead. Propsicle is away. Just cleaning it up, but I have unfortunately had to say about Quad Force 1 many times, including in the last race day, which you can catch up on our YouTube channel. Propsicle can't do it all by himself. He can win races again and again and again. He can pick up 4 points for his team time and time again, but he needs his teammates to be scoring higher because he can't score enough points just by himself. Now QT here is in third, but by virtue really of Kenrick having a big crash and another one since then has sent him further behind. Otherwise, QT would be struggling, I fear, to catch up with the China Dragons pilots. Just as Ion is struggling to do anything about Propsicle being out in front. These ladders are good, but they're not tight enough. There's a small hesitation as he swings through. Quad Force 1, it can't really be overstated how much they need a win here. It would be so important for them in points on our leaderboard as they are in 6th place, which is not a position we are used to seeing the American team in. And as I mentioned earlier, 5th versus 6th, that's the elimination zone in the Split 2 finals. You don't want to be in those positions. Quad Force 1 have a small chance of making it up to 4th and being in a better position for the finals. But they need a win over China Dragons here to help them do that. And also, a win over China Dragons would give them a really big bit of moral support, I think. Because China Dragons, up in second, were never a better team than Quad Force 1 until recent seasons. Ion, 3 seconds behind Propsicle. This race has just got stretched out and stretched out as we've flown through it. He'll now come up to the ladders. Around the blower and early pre-turn, which means he hit the ladder, didn't have the visibility to go through it. It's the right idea to pre-turn and try and make those turns tighter, but that one's just cost Ion 2 more seconds. Here's the win for Propsicle.
Hello, I'm Propsicle. Welcome to my masterclass. Yeah! That's what I like to see, baby!
The self-proclaimed masterclass from Propsicle. Well, it was a really clean win. Kenrick was caught here under the rails, turned just too tight. Just hit the middle. QT gets stuck on this split S, and recovery speed is so important. Now, it can get you back into a race, but that one took a little while. Here's Ion coming around the turn into the ladders, pre-turns too soon, hits the underneath, manages to go through, unlike QT's crash. Sometimes you get lucky, Propsicle gets a win. Now his teammates AK Drones and Hyper take on the extremely established pairing of Clone Number 1 and Creator Gamer. These two pilots for China Dragons we see as a pair again and again, and they fly so well together. Clone Number 1 usually getting more wins than Creator Gamer. At the moment, Hyper and AK Drones want none of that and intend to lead both China Dragons. AK Drones, where have you gone from second down to fourth, but only by a couple of tenths of a second. It's so close between all of them. Hyper's just being caught by Creator Gamer there. Up through here, down on the other side of the split S. Oh, Hyper's done the same as QT. Bumped on the far side of it at the bottom. Just went a little bit too low. That sends him to the back by 1.5 seconds. Creator Gamer is out in front and a quarter of a second behind him. It's his teammate, Clone Number 1. Clone Number 1 is very good on ladders. Creator Gamer flying well here. AK Drones sticking with the pair. Hyper's caught up a little as well, and he's flying quickly through the slalom, as you see, and he's one of the pilots who prefers to fly that a little bit higher, and it's working really well for him. He's now 7 tenths behind, just passing AK Drones, his teammate, and the China Dragons pilots are lining up in front of him as well. Let's go through the SW Project tunnel, to the turn, and then we'll be heading to the corkscrew here with Hyper gaining another 10th. And moving closer still through the castle, the first of the 180s and the second. Now the power loop, that's great for Hyper. 5 thousandths of a second between him and clone number 1. Surely going to pass him on these turns, he has. Now he's got to make this work better than he did, and he does. Hyper, no problem there. Now to the rails, trying to get on the inside of Creator Gamer. He is, and he comes out just in front of him. Quarter of a second in the lead rather than behind. Leads the China Dragons pilots to the ladders. And Hyper needs to stretch here. I think he can be quicker around them than the Chinese pilots. You see Creator Gamer here, he's a bit twitchy, rolls a bit, then rolls some more. It's smoother though, into the slalom, that's cleaner, but the ladders were a little bit hesitant for him. They were for clone number 1 as well. Hyper is 6 tenths ahead of clone number 1. Best part of a second ahead of Creator Gamer. He has got well and truly away from them, down that half pipe. Now he sails towards SW Project with Creator Gamer trying to hang on to him. Clone number 1 has had some problems. Crashed and gone a long way behind. Creator Gamer, though, is gaining on Hyper. The half pipe wasn't that good for him. That's when Hyper got away. But he's closing the gap on Hyper now as they're making their way through the castle. It's just about half a second. Drop down through here and comes out of it nicely. 3/10 of a second and closing. It's going to be great under the rails. Good work from both of these pilots. It's still 3/10. Now we're heading up to the half pipe, and this is where Creator Gamer lost Hyper before, so surely Hyper will leave him behind again, although that's better from Creator Gamer. He's trying to stick with him. That one's just a little bit slower. That one's better, though. Now into the slalom. He was good here before, but not good enough to beat Hyper on this chase. Hyper comes down with 4 more points for Quad Force 1.
Nice, Mason.
Yeah, buddy.
Yup.
Nice.
Nice. Beautiful, guys.
Everyone agrees that was nice. Hyper coming back and taking a good win there for Quad Force 1. So Hyper on the first lap crashed on this section where he drops down and then hits the side of it. That slowed him down by 1.5 seconds. But 1 lap later, he's coming on the inside of Creator Gamer here, a little bit smoother through the whole obstacle and comes out ahead of him. Creator Gamer didn't really do anything wrong. He's just got a little bit more variation in his path. Hyper was tighter on the inside and the exit and level all the way through. Creator Gamer fought hard, got second place. 5 points all in that race to the DCL Big Heat. What can we expect to come from this? Well, Quad Force 1 go into this with an 11 points to 9 narrow lead over China Dragons, and everybody within a quarter of a second as they're making their way now towards the castle and these 180-degree turns. Propsicle, as you may expect, is in front. Ion, Hyper, Creator Gamer, Clone number 1 all taking turns in and out of scoring positions. Propsicle's quite happy with his one, thank you very much. Creator's chasing him. Up here and then doing the drop down, and then the turn out of that is a little bit hesitant for him. He lost about 0.3 of a second there. It's not tidy for Creator Gamer, but he's leading the way for China Dragons. Ion a few tenths behind him. Hyper getting close to him, and now to the dangerous ladders where Hyper was so good before. QTFPV's hit the first one, swung out sideways, gone to the back. Creator Gamer's got a blue drone in his close vision. It's Propsicle who's far ahead of him. It's Hyper who's trying to steal second place from him and goes over and round and in front of him as we go on to lap number 2. Quad Force 1 in the leading 2 positions now. If Creator Gamer can tidy up his flying a bit, he can gain on Hyper. We saw him do it a little bit before. There's not much between them in second and third, but this is Propsicle who is having his masterclass lesson 2, it seems. Happy out in front, smoothly flying like nobody is chasing him at all. He looks like he's got all the time in the world. It is so smooth, it doesn't look like he's really attacking it or even pushing it that hard whatsoever. And yet a second between him and Mason Lively, his teammate, who's Hyper FPV. I don't know if Propsicle is perhaps holding back a little bit to play it safe. I wouldn't hold it back too much. Back to the half pipe. Propsicle's hit the first ladder. Gone through it, struggling with the second. Creator Gamer is through it and past him. And Hyper's got in front of Propsicle as well. All of a sudden, a huge shock. Creator Gamer finds himself in the lead. And Propsicle is only 0.03 of a second behind, alongside, and pushing to get back on front of him. Third lap now, Propsicle is right there with Creator Gamer, just nudges the lead as they're going through these turns into SW Project side by side. They turn, they head for the corkscrew over the bridge. It's a little bit smoother from Creator Gamer. He's trying to stick with Propsicle. He's 1/10 of a second behind him at the moment through the 180s. The dive has got to be good, and it is. It's still 1/10 of a second. Turn out of here. Now we go for this drop. Creator Gamer's got to make this nice and tight on the inside, and he does. Trying to stay with Propsicle, who's just a little bit further ahead. Under the rails. Bold flying from Propsicle. Creator Gamer is a little bit slower out of it. Creator Gamer, though, knows he got Propsicle here on the ladders before, and Propsicle's got to fly through it without letting that mistake affect him. It's shaky again for Creator Gamer. He's not going to get in front of Quad Force 1 flying like that. Barely made it through the fourth one. Propsicle out in front, but are all the other points going to China Dragons? Creator Gamer, clone number 1, and Ion will beat AK Drone. Propsicle did everything he could, and if AK Drones had taken fourth, the outcome would have been much better for them. First, let's see where Propsicle gave China Dragons a chance. Hit that one, and then for the second ladder, tries to turn left, but you've got to turn right. He got really muddled up. Here's Creator Gamer, who suddenly gets a lead handed to him by going the right way through that ladder. Hyper also gets past Propsicle, but only briefly. And Propsicle on the chase. Through all these turns here, gets in front of Creator Gamer and then stays there. And Creator Gamer did everything he could to stay with him, but ultimately just couldn't manage to keep it as fluid as Propsicle flies. But he's the only one in the scoring positions for the American team. AK Drones at the end had fourth place within his sights, but 0.2 of a second out of reach. Because he didn't get that 1 point there and China Dragons did, it's a 15 points all draw. Not the result the American team wanted, because their closest rivals in the leaderboard, STT Perpetuum Coin, got a big win over Alpha Prop Racing and the 3 points that comes with that. As a result, STT move up past Quad Force 1, and now Quad Force 1 can't get out of the elimination zone. We'll have close battles again on race day 17. Mach 1 will be against Alpha Prop for Pride down the bottom of the leaderboard. Cyclone against China Dragons. That's a battle over second place. I'm Matt Andrews. Thanks for watching the DCL. We'll see you in the skies.